Hello everyone, my name is Tony Themelis and I'm a product manager in Microsoft Purview Information Protection Group. With me today is Shekhar Palta. Today we'll talk about the problems many organizations are facing with data security. In this session, we will explain how you can address data security related challenges by using Microsoft Purview Information Protection's capabilities to secure your data across your entire digital estate. Let's jump in. Today, organizations across various industries are generating massive amounts of data, and the data volume is growing exponentially every year. According to a recent study, by 2025, the volume of data created, captured, copied, and consumed will reach 191 zettabytes, which is a 186% increase from 2022. What makes it more difficult to discover and protect sensitive data are the many locations and contexts where it can be created, shared, and sent. This, of course, happens both within an organization and external to an organization for data residing in multi-cloud, hybrid, and on-premise infrastructures. With global industry and national level regulations, the need to protect sensitive data and prevent data exfiltration, including PII and/or corporate intellectual property, has never been more urgent than it is now. That's why we're building Microsoft Purview Information Protection not only as a product, but also as a platform to help solve for data security needs of our customers. At its core, Purview Information Protection is responsible for accurately and comprehensively finding and protecting the most important sensitive data in your organization. It's a horizontal capability that empowers many data security scenarios, like our data loss prevention and insider risk management solutions, leverage accurate identification of sensitive files so that they can be used as conditions for DLP policies or monitoring risks arising from malicious or negligent users. Of course, we cover your entire digital estate, including multi-cloud, hybrid, and SaaS data. This is all supported by our robust partner ecosystem. There are 3 intelligent cloud-enabled services that make up Purview Information Protection. The first one is the Data Classification Service, which powers a set of rich capabilities ranging from simple regular expressions to advanced machine learning models that help you accurately identify sensitive data. More on these in the next slide. The second one is the Sensitivity Label Service. This allows you to create a label taxonomy that reflects how sensitivity is defined in your organization and apply those labels again across your entire data estate. The third one is the Rights Management Service. This allows you to assign rights to labels so that when they are applied by users manually or triggered automatically from the Data Classification Service, the rights are enforced through encryption and access control, ensuring that only authorized users get access to labeled data and sensitive resources. Classification, labels, and rights are no longer limited to just Office documents and Outlook emails on Windows. Instead, they can be used in Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive, Power BI reports, on endpoints, on macOS, and on mobile devices. Finally, our key services are accessed by Microsoft Defender for cloud apps, e-discovery, communication compliance, Microsoft Priva, and insider risk management, as well as by our data governance solutions in Azure. Let's dive into our best-in-class classification technologies. First, we have over 300 out-of-the-box sensitive information types, covering ID numbers, driver's licenses, and social security numbers. Named entities focus on the identification of person names, medical terms and conditions, and drug names. Named entities specifically address accurate detection of regulatory compliance data. Exact data match is a technique that provides a lookup to exactly match content with unique customer data, such as product codes or health data. It scales to large enterprise environments and supports up to 100 million rows and multiple lookup fields. Trainable classifiers allow you to choose from over 40 pre-trained machine learning models. These ready-to-use classifiers can quickly identify sensitive data in 9 different business categories. In addition, you can build your own trainable classifiers for proprietary intellectual property. Credentials can be used to detect digital authentication strings and passwords as they are stored or shared in files, chats, and emails. Context-based classification is a new category of classifiers that support identification of sensitive data based on things like file properties, file type, and location. With SharePoint default library labels, whole sites can be classified so that all files in, say, a highly confidential site get an equivalent highly confidential label. The benefit of the default library labels is that it allows an admin to choose specific locations that are sensitive and ensure any content moved or egress from those locations are automatically labeled based on the library. Also, don't forget that context-based classification works seamlessly with the other content-based classification techniques I just described. Optical character recognition, or OCR, is currently in preview and will support over 150 languages and file sizes of up to 50 megabytes. OCR will also enable text extraction from images and PDFs, so that all your existing DLP and auto-labeling policies can extend to start protecting data leakage from images. Sensitivity labels, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, represent the information taxonomy defined in your organization, typically by a security, risk, and compliance committee. They describe the priority and hierarchy of sensitive information. Content labels can be applied to data that travels or is transformed. For example, Office apps, Power BI reports, or Azure data. The protections supported include encryption and visual markings, and these labels can be applied automatically or manually. Container labels can be applied to SharePoint sites, Teams channels, or Microsoft 365 groups. They enforce access controls, privacy settings, and conditional access. They can be applied manually by site or team owners. Both content and container labels honor label policy settings, such as default, mandatory, and justify on downgrade. With all these advanced capabilities, how sure can administrators be that a policy they created is accurate? Well, we've built an experience called Policy Simulation to help. Policy Simulation is currently supported in auto-labeling and data lifecycle management and will soon be supported in DLP as well. Admins can create a policy and scope it to all or a subset of locations. They can then run a simulation which will return the total number of files matched, even if it's in millions. Simulation is fast and can be run iteratively as many times as is needed. Admins can tweak their policy between simulation runs to gain confidence that it is accurate. Finally, admins can turn on the policy to automatically protect their data. Customers often ask how to think through labeling at scale, meaning how do you bring all of this together, default labels, in Office and SharePoint, as well as automatic labels to ensure the maximum protection possible? Well, let's start with some guidance on applying labels by default. First, we recommend setting a default label for Office files and SharePoint sites in your label policy. Second, we recommend setting a library default label for your sensitive SharePoint sites so that all files in those sites get a label. If you want to programmatically apply a label yourself, we have a set label graph API that you can use. Now let's look at applying labels automatically. Client-side auto-labeling can be used to nudge users as they're working in Office documents and Outlook emails to apply a label by recommending the right label based on the content they are editing. Server-side auto-labeling can be used at scale to bulk label files at rest in OneDrive and SharePoint and emails in transit. Remember that when multiple policies match a file or email, or if it already has a label, then the highest priority label wins. Did you know that everything I've just talked about also applies to PDF files? Let me take you through some new capabilities that are available in Purview Information Protection to support PDFs. When files are saved from Office to PDF, the PDF fully inherits the label and protections associated with a source Office document. SharePoint can store protected PDFs in a compliant manner, such that all the protections associated with the label are honored. We are in private preview to support PDFs in server-side auto-labeling at scale. And finally, partners like Adobe and Foxit support labels for those of you that use those applications. Over to you, Shekhar.
Thanks, Tony, and hello, everyone. My name is Shekhar Palta, and I'm a PM lead on the Microsoft Purview Information Protection team. Today, I'll be talking about Microsoft Purview and our unique approach on achieving data security. We'll take you through a demonstration of the capabilities we have to offer. So what's needed for data security? We see three primary pillars. The first is intelligence to drive continuous discovery and monitoring for sensitive data to allow you to understand where is sensitive data stored in your data estate, as well as how is it being used. Next is the ability to leverage the unified and integrated policies so that data exfiltration can be protected across all egress channels across all cloud locations. Coupled with this are unified incident management and remediation capabilities that bring together signals that can be intelligently correlated across multiple risk vectors for SOC or DLP analysts. And finally, data security needs to be built in and enable end users to securely collaborate with others without impacting their productivity. Let us walk through each pillar and go over the powerful capabilities that can help you achieve your data protection goals. It's important to provide continuous risk monitoring to information protection admins and provide analytics that make them aware of blind spots and improve their data protection coverage. It is really important to enable deep, broad, and intelligent discovery and classification of sensitive data. This is crucial as it's not possible to achieve comprehensive data security unless broad, automated coverage of sensitive documents is achieved. Let's now look at some of the tools and capabilities we offer to allow you to continuously monitor sensitive data for your organization. It all starts with Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal. In this portal, admins can start in the DLP section and create custom DLP policies and leverage our intelligence derived from running the new E5 enhanced templates and helping the admins understand the blind spot in their organization. In this case, we show the insights via analytics for sensitive documents not yet protected but being shared by their end users. Clicking on View Detected Documents shows categories of sensitive information types, all matching documents and the locations where they are stored. Next, customers can go to the data classification section of the portal to view insights derived from presence and use of sensitive data within their organization. Customers can also click on Content Explorer, which provides admin the visibility to review the kind of sensitive information in the data estate and capability to further drill down to see the exact location of where these documents are located. Content Explorer also enables admins to filter on specific sensitivity or retention labels and also directly inspect the contents of sensitive files or emails, including those that are detected for advanced classifiers like trainable classifiers in this case. With our Activity Explorer tool, admins can view continuous monitoring for activities on sensitive data for different time periods, workloads, user actions, and file types. This is used both during onboarding for new policies and also helping the admin manage the risk as they progress through their data security journey. Another key capability is Policy Simulation Mode, which allows admins to view the impact of a label policy before it is enforced. This gives policy admins the confidence to understand the policy impact before it's rolled out to the data estate. Here are some recommended best practices. The first is to apply unified data protection policy across all egress channels and ensure that the protection is contextualized by workload. Then, use the unified incident management experience in the M365 Defender portal that correlates all signals across cloud, endpoint, third-party apps, and enables admins to investigate and remediate incidents in an efficient and productive manner. Let's see how data protection capabilities can be leveraged through a unified policy creation experience. You can see how it's possible to apply the same policy consistently across all egress channels such as email, documents on SharePoint or OneDrive, third-party cloud apps and services, on-premises repos, Defender for cloud apps, as well as endpoint devices. In order to help you get started, we provided a number of predefined policy templates that have preset combinations of advanced classifiers as well as out-of-the-box sensitive information types. For example, the one shown on the screen is a regulatory template that includes machine learning models, named entities, and sensitive info types, all combined for the best possible detection of sensitive information to meet this regulatory requirement. We recommend you to get started using these templates and adjust them as needed. This screen shows how you can create detection criteria for your sensitive data by using sensitivity labels, sensitive information types, or trainable classifiers that restrict access or encrypt the content in M365 locations. Next, admins can define restrictive actions that need to be taken when detection criteria for sensitive content is met. Here, you can see how block as an action is configured for emails and documents in SharePoint or OneDrive. For endpoint devices, as part of the same policy, admins can set workload-specific enforcement actions, such as copy or print actions, or blocking sharing, and can choose different restriction levels like block with ability for end user to override or just audit. For the SOC analyst, they can resolve data incident management queue in the Microsoft 365 Defender portal, which includes DLP incidents. The SOC or DLP admin can use the queue for DLP only or combine it across security workloads. Here, you can see that there is a unified dashboard that helps the SOC analyst correlate all the signals and alerts across multiple Defender workloads, app governance, and Microsoft Purview DLP. As DLP analysts investigate the DLP alert, it is possible to look deeper into identified sensitive files that provides further contextual data that's specific to the workloads. This intelligence and enrichment enables the admins to remediate the risk within the incident. This is broadly available now. Within the same DLP alert, analysts can access native actions, see policy descriptions, file locations, and view other details as part of their remediation experience. Let's switch gears now and see what built-in data security capabilities there are that revolve around end users. Built-in data security is required to enable end users to securely collaborate without compromising on productivity. Let us start with the built-in experience for endpoint devices. Here, the example shown is of an end user working on a sensitive financial file on their endpoint device. They decide to print the document. And they see a very familiar integrated Windows notification experience that informs them that this action is against the organizational policy and has the option to override this action by providing a business justification. Next, let us move to the Office built-in experiences. Here, the end user is authoring a highly confidential document which contains credentials. A policy tip is displayed that says that your organization has automatically applied a sensitivity label of highly confidential internal users only. This was done as part of the enforcement controls in your configured auto-labeling policy. Co-authoring on documents protected with Microsoft Purview information protection allows for multiple users to simultaneously edit and author confidential documents without compromising on the security. This is now available across Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Office mobile applications on Android and iOS devices across all platforms. The end user can save the highly confidential document to create a PDF form from a Word doc. When the user does this action, the specific label file permissions will be automatically inherited and passed on to the PDF file. Now let's focus our attention to view the built-in experience for Teams. In this screenshot, the user tries to send a Teams chat that contains sensitive credit card numbers. The message was automatically blocked with a clickable URL notification titled, "What can I do for further information?" This is truly a differentiator. Comparative solutions only work on this after the fact. Sensitivity labels is our newest built-in capability that can also be applied to Teams and Outlook meetings. This meeting has been labeled top secret. Within the context of the top secret meeting, it is possible to add a watermark of an attendee's email address to prevent screenshots and taking photos of sensitive content shared on screen. And shown here is a pop-up notification that prevents copying chat content to other applications in the context of the top secret meeting. What you just saw was how Microsoft Teams can enable enterprise users to securely collaborate, yet ensuring the end users remain productive. That brings me to the end of the demo. I will now briefly cover DLP recently released features as well as some interesting features in the pipeline. We've released many capabilities over the past year. On the classification pillar, we have added support for a number of advanced classifiers as well as additional file types. We've also included a number of granular policy controls across workloads, including the ability to create groups of printers, USB devices, etc., as well as the ability to ring fence DLP administration through RBAC. On the detection and incident management front, we have launched a unified dashboard in the Defender portal for DLP incident management experience. We also have a number of key announcements that are coming up soon, including support for OCR across all locations, just-in-time protection for endpoint DLP, protection for files stored on network shares, as well as consistent experience for policy tips in Outlook Windows 32. The future is exciting, and we'll keep moving additional advancements going forward. With that, I'll hand it over to Tony to take us through the rest of the session. Over to you, Tony.
Thank you, Shekhar. Let's continue the roadmap discussion with an overview of the Purview Information Protection recent releases. On the classification side, we released 23 out-of-the-box trainable classifiers, an increase in the scale of exact data match up to 500 evaluations, and we've enhanced the source code trainable classifier. On the server-side AIP parity features, you can now configure display colors for sensitivity labels in the Security and Compliance Center. As I was mentioning earlier, with respect to PDF support, we recently released the ability to apply sensitivity labels in Adobe Acrobat files, the ability to maintain label and protection when creating PDF files from VBA in both commercial and government clouds. On the secure collaboration side, we have extended co-authoring to be available on mobile devices. And we have also extended sensitivity labels to Outlook appointment invites and Teams online meetings. Default labeling now applies to existing documents, not just new documents. Let's move on to the future. And I'd like to focus once again on classification. We spoke earlier about optical character recognition. This is going to be supported in Exchange, Teams, SharePoint, and Endpoint DLP starting next month in April as a preview. All of the context-based classification features will also be in preview next month in April. Full document fingerprinting will be in preview this month. And an additional set of 13 new trainable classifiers, including an enhanced resume model, will be going GA this month. On the AIP parity side, the new sensitivity bar in M365 apps on Windows is going to be GA this month. The ability to block emails being sent with sensitivity labels through what we call an oversharing pop-up is in preview and is going to be GA in April. The ability to configure inheritance of an attachments label to the email is also in preview this month and will be GA in April. Office apps can now audit protection properties so that they are fed into the unified M365 audit log. User-defined permissions will now support domain name restrictions. So instead of having to put in a specific email address, you can put in a whole domain so that anybody at that organization would get those permissions. And we have a new configuration that allows administrators to scope labels differently for files versus emails. And that is going to be GA this month. On the PDF support side, PDF files encrypted with sensitivity labels will be able to be searched and e-discovered in SharePoint, And this is going to be GA in May in commercial and later this year in government clouds. Automatic labeling for files addressed in SharePoint supporting PDF files is currently in private preview, and we expect to go to private preview later this year. On the secure collaboration side, secure collaboration on labeled and encrypted documents with user-defined permissions is going to commercial and government clouds next month, April, in preview. The application of a default label to an unlabeled file in the SharePoint library, which is part of the label configurations that I was talking about earlier, is going to be GA next month in April. All right, let's talk about how to get started. First of all, a company defines its label schema, establishing the labeling scheme with parent and sublabels, user descriptions, and priorities. Next, it's publishing labels to users so that they can start manually labeling. Next, it's using recommendations to assist users or nudge them to apply the right labels based on the sensitivity of the data that they're editing. Next is automatic labeling, which is scaling your organization's labeling efforts with automation across data at rest in SharePoint, OneDrive, and Exchange emails. And last is data loss prevention to ensure that data is protected with the appropriate DLP policies. We have an ability to activate all of these features in a set of default labels and policies with a simple one-click turn on. This is a really nice feature that helps customers get started quickly with a set of best practices recommended by Microsoft that they can then try out, simulate, tweak, and extend to meet their business needs. Customers can set up the recommended protection features across automatic labeling, manual labeling, and data loss prevention. Here are some resources to learn more about all of the items that we've discussed today. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.